Welcome Junior Tuckies, my name is Mrs. Ramlal. This video I've prepared for the grade 12s to help them with their June exam preparation. In this video we'll be looking at the Gauteng June exam 2022. But before you watch this video, make sure you print the question paper and have the memo with you at hand. Right. 1-2. Give the correct biological term for each of the following descriptions. Write only the term next to the question number in the answer booklet. 1-1. The type of fertilization where eggs are fertilized inside the body. Now we're mentioning inside the body, so that type of fertilization is, of course, internal fertilization. 1-2. A blood vessel in the umbilical cord that transports nutrients, that we know is the umbilical vein. 1-3. The organelle outside the nucleus that contains DNA, that, of course, is the mitochondria. 1-4. The part of the ear that directs sound waves into the external auditory canal, that we know is the pinna. 1-5. The structure in the head of the sperm that contains digestive enzymes is the acrosome. 1-6. The stage when secondary sexual characteristics develop in males and females, that is puberty. The network of genetic material found in the nucleus during interphase, that I know is chromatin network. And 1-8, the type of egg produced by reptiles that has the extraembryonic membrane, that of course is the amniotic egg. Right, 1.3. Indicate whether each of the descriptions in column 1 applies to A only, B only, both A and B or none of the items in column 2. Write A only, B only, both A and B or none next to the question number in the answer book. 131. Discovered the structure of DNA molecule. Now, we know that Watson and Crick discovered the DNA, and White and Dart are paleontologists. So our answer is A only. 132. A reproductive strategy in birds where hatchlings are helpless and are unable to move and feed themselves, that we already know is altricial, and so your answer is B only. And 133. The type of inheritance where both alleles are expressed equally in the phenotype, so that could be codominance, but can you see it's not an option for us, so our answer is none. Right. 1.4. The diagram below represents the results of a paternity investigation. It was determined that the 3 children were siblings, brothers or sisters, and share the same biological mother. So this is the mother. Their mother is adult B. So 141. Name the technique used to obtain the results shown above, that we know is DNA profiling. 142. Which of the adults is the children's father? Now, you will take your ruler and you will see all the bands that the mother, adult B, has in common with child 1, 2, and 3, and then you look for the adult who has the rest of the bands in common with all of the children, and that's how you'll determine who the father is. And from that, we can see that from both of this, we can see adult C is the one that is the father. Now, it says give a reason for your answer, and we've said it. All the bands of adult B and C together match all the children's bands. Or you could have said he's the only adult that can provide all the DNA bands with adult B that the children have. 144. Which of the children are identical twins? You can see from here, it's child 1 and child 2. 145. State 2 other uses of the technique mentioned in 141. 2 other uses of DNA profiling: to trace missing persons, identify crime scenes, identify genetic disorders, establish family relations, match tissues for organ transplants, identify dead persons or animals. Right, 1.5. In rabbits, the genes for fluffy tails are dominant over unfluffy tails. So fluffy tails is big F and unfluffy tails is small f. Brown fur, big B, is dominant over white fur, small b. 2 rabbits, which are heterozygous for both traits, are crossed. The Punnett diagram below shows the possible gametes produced by each parent. 151. State the type of cross represented. Now this is a dihybrid cross. B. Give a reason for your answer. It involves the inheritance of 2 characteristics, as you can see here. 152. How many offspring have unfluffy? So let's look for unfluffy and white fur. white fur is small b. So can you see? It's only 1. Okay. Right. 153. Give the genotype of the parent rabbits crossed. Now they tell us the parents were heterozygous, so the parents must definitely be that. 154. Identify the phenotype of offspring X. So offspring X, so let us write it down first. It will be big F, big B, small b. So there will be fluffy tails and brown fur. Right. Identify the genotype of offspring Y. Genotype, that's even easy, so let's work that out. Small bf, small f. Okay. And then 155. Give the proportion of offspring that could have fluffy tails. Now fluffy tails are big F, so let's work it out. Look for the big F. And can you see it's 12 out of 16, which is of course 75% right. Right, 2.1. The diagram below represents one strand of a DNA molecule. So there's your DNA molecule in the picture. 2.1.1. Identify sugar Y. This is a DNA molecule, so I immediately know that sugar is deoxyribose sugar. Identify B, molecule Z. Can you see molecule Z is made up of the 3 portions, phosphate group, the sugar, and the nitrogenous base? That is a nucleotide. 212. Describe the process by which DNA makes a copy of itself. So, straight from your exam guidelines and exam papers, the DNA double helix unwinds and unzips, and the hydrogen bonds break to form 2 strands, separate strands. Both DNA strands serves as a template to build the complementary DNA, or you could say adenine pairs to thymine and cytosine to guanine, using free DNA nucleotides from the nucleoplasm. This results in 2 genetically identical DNA molecules. Each molecule consists of 1 original strand and 1 new strand. Right. Then, 213. The table below shows the mRNA codons and the amino acids for which they code. So there you see the mRNA codon and the amino acid. Then it says, use the table above to write on the correct sequence of amino acids coded for from left to right by the DNA shown above. So there's your DNA and your table codes for the mRNA. So we have to change the letters to the mRNA. So opposite T will be A, opposite AU, and then G. So is there AUG? Yes, meat. Next one, AAG. So we change it to the mRNA. So it'll be UUC. Is there UUC? Yes, fin. And the last one, UGC. Is there UGC? Yes, cis. So that's how you work out your amino acids. Right, 214. During DNA replication, a mutation occurred in the first DNA triplet from the DNA molecule given above, and that changed TAC to TTC. Describe the effect this mutation has on the protein which is formed. Now that's easy. Right, the AUG on the mRNA changed to AAG. The anticodon, AUAC, changed to UUC, which resulted in lysine being picked up by the tRNA instead of methionine. And definitely from here, a different protein was formed. Right, 2.2. The diagram below shows a pair of homologous chromosomes. 221. Identify position 1. So position 1, what's that? It's a position of a gene. It's a locus. Identify structure 2, that's easy. That's a centromere. 2.2. State whether an individual with these chromosomes is homozygous or heterozygous with regards to the gene represented at A. Now, at A, can you see? So can you see the person has a big A and a small a? So definitely that person is heterozygous. Give a reason for your answer. Okay, the alleles or the letters of the gene are different. Right. 224. Explain why these homologous chromosomes are similar but not identical. Now, why are these chromosomes similar? It's because they are carrying, if you look at each of them, the same genes at the same position. Why are they different? Why are these chromosomes different? As you can see, they're carrying different alleles. Now, why? Because of possibly crossing over during meiosis, or mutations that could have taken place, or copying errors during replication. The memo wanted one similarity and any two differences. This is a very nice question. Make a note of it, grade 12s. Right. 2.3. The diagram below shows some of the stages in human reproduction from the ovum, egg to the fetus. As you can see there in the picture. 2.3.1. Identify the reproductive structure at stage 3. Now at stage 3, can you see sperm in the ovum has already fertilized, so 3 is the zygote. Identify the reproductive structure at stage 4. That is a ball of cells, so that is the medulla. 2.3.2. Name the process that is taking place at 2. That, of course, is fertilization. 2.3.3. Where in the body does the process at stage 2 occur? Where does fertilization take place? In the fallopian tubes or the oviduct. Then 2.3.4. Describe the process responsible for the formation of the reproductive cell shown at stage 1. So they're asking you what process allows for the formation of the ovum, and that's oogenesis. And that you get straight from the exam guidelines, but let's read it. The process is oogenesis. Diploid cells in the ovary undergo mitosis to form numerous follicles. At the onset of puberty and under the influence of FSH, one cell inside a follicle enlarges and undergoes meiosis. Of the 4 cells that are produced, only one survives to form a mature haploid ovum. And then 2.3.5. Describe 2 ways in which the fetus is protected. We know that there's amniotic fluid that acts as a shock absorber and protects the fetus from mechanical injury, or from temperature changes, or dehydration. And then the placenta serves as a barrier, protecting the fetus from certain diseases. Right. 2.4. Bipaldism is a genetic disorder which is characterized by a person having a white patch of hair. Bipaldism is controlled by a single dominant allele, big H. The diagram below shows a person with bipaldism. A man with a white patch of hair and a woman with a white patch of hair have 2 children. The first child is born without a patch of hair, and the second child is born with a patch of hair. Use a genetic cross to show the possibility of producing the phenotypes of the children as described above. Now they both have patches, white patches of hair. So basically, the first child is born with and without, so they must be, both of them, heterozygous. So how will you set it up? Look at the memo. P1 phenotype, white patch. Genotype, big H, big H, small h. Then you write meiosis, gametes, you write your gametes out, fertilization. I prefer to look at the gametes in the Punnett square. You can see big H, big H, small h, big H, small h, small h, small h. So there will be 3 children with white patch and 1 child without white patch, and that's what they wanted. So 3:1, that's the possibility of the phenotypes of the children. You get a mark for P1, F1, meiosis, and fertilization. Alright, 2.5. The diagram below shows the chromosomes in one human cell. 2.5.1. Name the type of diagram shown above. Now here you can see this is a photograph of chromosomes, so this is a karyotype. 2.5.2. Identify the chromosomes labeled 1 to 22. Those are autosomes. 2.5.3. State whether the individual shown is a male or a female. Can you see there's 2 X chromosomes? So this is definitely a female. Give a reason for your answer. They already said it. The last pair, chromosome 23, consists of 2 X chromosomes or XX. Then 2.5.5. Describe how this human cell resulted in the number of chromosomes shown as position 1. Now position 1, can you see there's 3 copies of the 21st chromosome? So this person has trisomy 21 or Down syndrome. So how did this happen? During anaphase 1 or 2, chromosome pair 21 failed to separate, or non-disjunction occurred at position 21. This resulted in a gamete or a daughter cell with the extra chromosome at position 21. When this gamete was fertilized by a normal gamete, the zygote ended up with 3 copies of chromosomes at position 21. Alright, 3.1. The diagram below represents a phase during meiosis. 3.1.1. Identify structures W. W, of course, is the centriole. The memo also accepts centrosome. B. Identify structures labeled X. That is definitely the spindle fiber. 312. Identify the phase which is represented in this diagram. Can you see the chromosomes are moving apart? Whole chromosomes are moving apart. So apart, anaphase, and it's chromosome and it's phase 1 because they are whole chromosomes. Right. Give a reason, I've just explained it. So each chromosome of each homologous pair is being pulled to opposite poles. 314. State the number of chromosomes that each daughter cell will contain at the end of meiosis. So as you can see, it's going to be 3 chromosomes. Then 315. Give evidence from the diagram which indicates that the resulting daughter cells will be genetically different. So the chromosomes, can you see, have swapped segments of genetic material. Meaning, can you see that they have black and white segments? So that means they have swapped segments of genetic material. Okay, 316. Explain the significance of the daughter cells being genetically different. This will introduce genetic variation in the offspring, thereby increasing the chances of survival. 30.2. The graph below shows the changes in the levels of hormones in the menstrual cycle of a female. So here you can see the level of the hormone in time and days, and there you can see the different hormones X, Y, Z. 321. Identify the events in the menstrual cycle labeled A. So here, that part in the first few days is definitely menstruation. 321B. Identify the events in the menstrual cycle labeled B. There you can see a peak of the hormone. That is definitely ovulation. 322. Name the hormone at X. So X is the one with the dotted line. So I'm just trying to find it here. So here's it here. And that is definitely follicle stimulating hormone. Right, name the hormone B at Z. Z is the one with the longer lines here. That is definitely, I know, progesterone. Right. State the function, 3.2.323, state the function of hormone X. X, of course. What hormone is X? We said it was follicle stimulating hormone. So it stimulates the development of the primary follicle into a secondary and then into a mature Graafian follicle. 324. Explain the effect of the decrease in the level of hormone Z to the level shown in the graph above. Now, if you can see in the graph that hormone Z increases, then it's high and then it decreases. So they're asking you the reason for it. Why? The corpus luteum degenerates and then the progesterone levels will stop secreting progesterone. The endometrium lining will no longer be maintained, and this will result in the lining being broken down and shed during menstruation to prevent possible pregnancy. Then FSH is no longer inhibited and the FSH levels will increase and a new follicle will start to develop. So here, they're asking the effect of the decrease of this hormone shown. This is a very nice question. And you had to explain it and say why the levels of progesterone drop and what will happen and then what happens to the levels of FSH as well. So that is a very, very nice question. 3.3. The diagram below shows a part of the human ear. 3.3.1. Give the letter and the name of the part that equalizes pressure between the outer and middle ear. That we know is D, and that's the eustachian tube. Give the letter name of the part that B absorbs excess pressure in the inner ear. That is definitely E, round window. 332. Give a function of the part labeled F. F, we know, is the tympanic membrane, which transmits sound vibrations to the middle ear. And 3.3.3. Explain the significance of the arrangement of the structures labeled A. Now, that's the semicircular canals. Why are they in 3 different planes? They lie in 3 different planes to detect movement in any direction. The fluid moves in at least one of the semicircular canals, and this will stimulate receptors, and that will help to maintain balance. 3.4. Describe the path of an impulse in a reflex arc during reflex action. during a reflex action. This is for 7 marks. So 3.4. The receptor receives the stimulus and converts it into an impulse, which is transmitted by the sensory neuron through the dorsal root of the spinal nerve to the spinal cord, where the impulse is transferred via the interneuron to the motor neuron, which carries the impulse via the ventral root to the effector or the muscle of the gland, and the impulse is transferred from one neuron to the next via synapse. Right. 3.5. Scientists have investigated the effect of age on the focusing distance of the eye. The method they used is described as follows, or is described below. Volunteers of different ages had their eyes tested. 3 individuals from each selected age were used. Each volunteer was asked to read from a book. The book was moved closer to their eyes. When the words were no longer in focus, the distance was recorded. The results of the investigation are shown in the table below. So you have your age of the volunteers, individual 1, 2, 3, distance in millimeters, and the average distance in millimeters. 351. Calculate the average distance for the volunteers age 50 indicated as X in the table. So what do? You add 292, 301, 297 and you divide it by 3 and your answer you get is 297 millimeters. The memo also accepts 296,67 or 296,7. 352A. Name the process by which the eye is able to bring about a clear image when the book is moved closer to the eyes of the individual. That, of course, is accommodation. B. Describe the process mentioned in question 352. Right. The ciliary muscles will contract, the suspensory ligaments slacken, tension on the lens decreases, and the lens becomes more convex. Light rays become more refracted, and the light rays are focused in the retina. So they asked you when the book is moving closer, that's near vision. They asked you what happens in the eye during near vision. There's your answer. 353. Use the data from the table to plot a graph showing the average focusing distance of volunteers aged 40, 45, and 50. So they just wanted the average. Right, so your heading, effective age on the average focusing distance in millimeters, and then they had it for what? 258, 279, 309, and that was the age, and there you have your key. Nice graph. And then 354. State the conclusion for this investigation. So, what will the conclusion be? As the age of the volunteers increase, the longer the average focusing distances, or as the age of the volunteers decrease, the shorter the average focusing distance, and that you get from here. Right. If you look at the graph, this was the criteria, the type of graph, the caption of the graph, the labels of the graph, the scale, the plotting of the bars, the spaces between the bars, and the width had to be the same. So you can see here, this is where we got the conclusion. As the age increases, the average focusing distance also increases, or you could have said it the other way around, as in the memo. Right. Thank you, Junior Takis, for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot. Join me and watch all my other videos as well.